Hello back everyone, welcome back to 83 Racing headquarters, and it's been quite some time since I did a little vlog, so I'm going to do a little catch up since the last video. I think if you recall, we bought a red EG and we're taking out the interior loom for it, and a couple of painstaking hours later we managed to remove it. Well, I managed to remove it. And this came out of an automatic transmission chassis, so there's lots of plugs on here that will be pretty much redundant for us. But you know, if we start from this end, it goes all the way from the front headlights to the shock tower plugs to the fuse box inside the engine bay, through the grommet inside the car, and then this loom here does our ECU plugs and our diagnostic connectors. There's my cat. And then this pin here, this plug here, series of plugs, is for the automatic transmission. I put the split pin in here because it connects to the inhibitor switch. So that should allow us to start it up pretty much straight away, fingers crossed. And then it moves to along here, which goes up over the steering column or the pedal box, and then down to I'm sure what that one will be, to the interior fuse box. It's a bit bright out here. And actually, welcome from sunny Dunedin, New Zealand, if you're catching us from somewhere overseas. But yeah, so the question is that that's a separate part of the loom that does the headlights and comes in through the right hand side into the firewall, this grommet here, and connects to the fuse box somewhere in there maybe. So yeah, so we got that out, and so we took that away because we didn't need anything else off it, but we found we need a lot of panels for the outside of the car. And so then we bought this car. So it's a 1989 Honda Civic SI model. Comes out with a ZC engine, twin cam 1600 non-VTEC. Picked it up from its steel because the person who deregistered it and wasn't looking to put it back on the road, so that served our purposes perfectly fine. We'll be taking pretty much everything here, like all the doors, glass at this stage, mirrors, guards. Not this bonnet, this is a different bonnet, we've got the other bonnet. And also, we made the decision to convert back to power steering in the EF. So we swapped the subframes over, because the subframe had a few cross-threaded bolt holes, and it was a bit bashed up. So this is the old one out of the race car, and we've taken it out and we've put it into the race car, and taken the power steering pump lines. We thought the radiator was in good nick, but it was too thin for our purposes, so we have found a different one. And we took the front bumper as well and the headlights, and we put them into the race car. There's my cat Maltzatung making another appearance. Alright, so we're going to head back to the shed and show you how it's coming along now. There was a decision to use a 1600 VTEC engine, but now we've gone to a Type R Integra 1800 engine. So I'll give you the big reveal. Ta-da! Okay, so it's not really progressed that far in the body way. We've kind of sanded the outside, prep it for paint. Got a couple of surfboards here for storage. And this is the ZC motor that was out of the white Civic that I just showed you earlier. So what we did here is we painted the engine bay in a pewter colour. We used a rattle can, pick up that fine colour from Super Cheap Auto, and we've put in this B18C Type R engine. Put in the other day, and we also managed to pick up a good deal on a very close ratio gearbox for it. It has a longer first gear and a 4.7 final drive, and it maxes out to about 196 kilometres with the tyres that we're going to use, which I think will be quite ample for the relatively low power output of the car, 200 horsepower. So I dropped that in, and I see I've got the power steering subframe in there. And power steering pump here, we're going to have to change the pump because it's not compatible with this crank pulley down there. And this radiator we got out of a 1989 Honda Integra, which is nice and thick, but we're just having a few problems aligning it, getting it to line up properly, so we might have to kind of, and there's a bit of a gap difference here as opposed to over there, so we're going to have to massage this bottom radiator support panel to accept it. I've installed the power steering cooler line there, and I started to fit the headlights, and just kind of, it really transforms the car. It kind of makes it look like it's a bit of a car now, instead of just a, you know, not even a rolling shell, just a shell with a roll cage in it. And I made a little dolly for it with some 4x2s and some 250 kg caster wheels. Work we're done today is put some camber arms, just factory camber arms on it, and we're going to all the trouble to mark every single bolt that we've tightened, that we're finished with, so we know when we look over it that we know either A, we haven't tightened the bolt that we should have, or B, the bolt, we haven't touched it at all. It was already like that, it's already still on the car. Yep. So we've got these are DA6, these are 1989 Integra front hubs. We're going to be running Prelude front brakes, which are 282mm, which are 20mm bigger than what this car came out in the factory. And we just got to put the front cross member on, and the radius rods together, front shocks. We won't do that because it's just, I think it's just adding too much weight to the dolly. It's already quite difficult to move around with the engine and gearbox in. But our next challenge is to prep the inside, because we want to change the colour. It's a bit dark. We want to change the colour of the interior from this primer grey to the pewter grey that the engine bay is in, so we've got a bit of consistency. That's not bad for a home job. And yeah, so really looking forward to getting that engine bay painted and start thinking about colour schemes. We're going to have a black and white colour scheme. And I guess I'll let you know what the design is going to be later on. It's going to be quite simple and kind of understated. just to keep it kind of within a group. Was it Group A? Group A touring car is where we wanted to do it. Yeah. So that's all for now. If you have any questions, just chuck them in the comments box in the bottom. Or you can head over to our Facebook page, which is just search for us, 83 Racing. And you should have a picture of the car on the front. Special thanks to the Moorings Apartments and Hotel in Wanaka for helping me kind of build this car. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Everyone have a good new year, and we'll see you again.